You're 24 years old. You work as an overnight IT support technician, help desk, for an e-commerce corporation in Seattle. Your salary is $18 an hour. Your job is to sit in a windowless apartment, processing emotional emails about customer payment errors you'll never encounter. It's a tedious job. Then, one Tuesday night, at 3 a.m., you get a timestamp. The company's automated refund system has a small logic error. If a customer account cancels an order worth less than $50 and simultaneously submits a payment method change request within the wrong time frame of 1.2 seconds, the system crashes. It still refunds the money, but doesn't record it in the main register. The money ends up in a digital buffer. You don't press the report error node. You're curious. Curiosity is the starting point of every high-tech criminal. You write a small script. An automated bot runs it. This bot creates a bunch of fake accounts, buys anonymous items, then triggers a 1.2-second wait. $50, $45, $30. The amount is too small for the company's brute force tactics to notice. But when multiplied 4,000 times a week, that's $180,000. The money is passed through 3 intermediary cryptocurrency payment gateways, laundered through anonymous exchanges before turning into Bitcoin in the USB drive you wear around your neck. After 6 months, the company updates its system. The automatic variable loss error occurs. The final accounting audit discovers the missing ball. They report it to the FBI because the amount has grown to over $4 million. The FBI arrives at the office. They search for high-level managers, those with access to the source code. They never look down into the basement where the night shift IT employee had just resigned a month earlier for the reason of going back to his hometown to take care of his mother. You succeeded. The first level didn't require hanging. It just required the struggle to find a type of water flowing from a pipe without testing. You move to Chicago. $4 million is a lot of money, but living in hiding is expensive. You need to spread the money out, launder it through shell real estate companies and offshore accounts. You realize that stealing once is luck. Stealing a second time is an art. This time you target large charities. Their systems are loose, relying too heavily on trust. You don't work for them. You attack from the outside. You send incredibly sophisticated phishing emails, targeting older accountants. You gain access to the payment gateways of 3 medium-sized charities. Instead of withdrawing large sums, you employ a salami-slicing tactic. You set up a system so that every time a donation exceeds $1,000, 3% is automatically redirected to a fake charity you set up in Switzerland. In 2 years, you amassed another $2.5 million. Everything worked perfectly. But you made a mistake. You left behind a pattern. In Washington, D.C., the FBI's cybercrime division began piecing together the fragments. Agent Alan Reyes, a data-obsessed maniac, noticed a coincidence. The way the code was written to bypass the Seattle e-commerce system 3 years prior shared the same style as the code used to redirect charitable donations in Chicago. The syntax errors were identical. A person can change their name, but the way they write code is like a digital fingerprint. Reyes formed a task force. They began tracking the flow of cryptocurrency. You use mixers to erase traces, but Reyes used supercomputers to decode it gradually. The list of suspects narrowed from thousands in Seattle, down to former IT professionals who had quit abruptly and then matched it with IP addresses that had accessed servers in Chicago. They had 5 names, and your real name is among them. The hunt officially begins. You're drinking coffee in downtown Chicago when your phone buzzes with a message from your self-set-up early warning system. A federal government IP address just pinged your virtual server. It feels like an electric current running down your spine. They're not just looking for you. They're watching your door. Most people, when backed into a corner, would try to cash out and flee the country. That's when they get caught. At the airport, the border, or while trying to withdraw cash. You don't do that. You've learned that to avoid being caught, you have to be prepared to lose everything. You leave your computer running. You walk out of the coffee shop, leaving your designer jacket behind. You throw your cell phone down the drain. You walk 6 blocks, buy a bus ticket with cash under the name John Smith, and head straight to a small town in Texas. 6 hours later, Agent Reyes and the SWAT team break down the door to your luxurious Chicago apartment. They seize your computer, hard drive, and find evidence of the crime, but the room is empty. The USB drive containing $6 million in cryptocurrency. You threw it into Lake Michigan the night before you left, because you knew that if you carried it, you would always try to access it again, and they would catch that signal. You traded $6 million for your life. You officially become a nobody. No money, no papers, no past. Agent Reyes has your identity, putting you on the most wanted list, but the man with that name just died in your mind. Texas, hot and dusty. You work as a laborer for a construction company. You receive your wages in cash under the name Leo. No insurance, no bank account, no medical records. You rent a dilapidated room behind a gas station. The FBI has offered a $200,000 reward for your information. Your face appears in online news reports, but you've grown a thick beard, let your hair grow long, shaved off part of your eyebrows to completely alter your facial structure. You've lost 10 pounds from strenuous manual labor. 3 years have passed. Poverty is torture, but it's the perfect armor. The FBI isn't looking for a genius cybercriminal carrying cement in 40-degree heat. Their search algorithms scan large transactions, complex network protocols, international flights, not crumpled $20 bills for beer at a gas station. However, you can't live like this forever. You start a new method, completely unrelated to computers. You exploit the state's system for recovering unclaimed property. You go to public libraries, search for the names of deceased elderly people with no heirs who have forgotten savings accounts. You use traditional hand-forged documents to create fake inheritance certificates and mail them. Each time you only take $5,000 to $10,000, enough to live a quiet middle-class life, but not enough to trigger the federal alert system. You earn $60,000 a year, a boring, repetitive life. The FBI can't find you because you're no longer playing their game. You've changed the rules of the game. 7th year in a new body. You move to suburban Ohio. You are Leo, a furniture restorer. And you meet Elena. She's a kindergarten teacher, gentle and loving you, with the purest affection you've ever known. She loves a hard-working, quiet man without a family because his parents died young. She doesn't know she's sharing a bed with one of America's most wanted cybercriminals. Elena wants children. She talks about a bigger house, a mortgage, trips abroad. And that's when your walls crumble. Not because of the FBI, but because of the very life you crave. You can't buy a house because the bank will check Leo's credit history and find it doesn't exist before last year. You can't go abroad because you don't have a passport. You don't even dare let her post photos of the two of you on social media in case AI facial recognition technology scans through them. Every time she asks about your past, you have to fabricate new lies. Your memory has to work at 200% capacity every day, not to write code, but to remember what lies you've told. You look into Elena's eyes and realize a bitter truth. You love her, but what she loves is only a shadow. If you tell the truth, she'll be disgusted and might report you to the police. If you continue to remain silent, you'll deprive her of her right to be a mother and a legal wife. For the first time in your life, your genius mathematical brain can't solve this equation. Every variable leads to destruction. As for the FBI, Agent Reyes has retired. Your file has been moved to cold storage. They've stopped searching. You've officially won. But this victory has a bitter taste.
Freedom. The concept you once adored at 24 is now a glass cage for you. You have no hands, no security cameras in the house, no hell. But you are a prisoner of your own lies. You received an anonymous text message from an old acquaintance. Your father at home died of a serious illness. The funeral was 6 weeks ago. You weren't there. You couldn't call. You could only sit in your lumberyard in Ohio staring straight at the sawdust and crying in silence. The FBI didn't catch you, but they caught everything that led to your deception. To maintain the authentication process, you had to decide your own soul identity. 10 years passed. Elena finally left, unable to bear the distance and the mystery lurking within you. She found another man, one who could choose a real name for her on the marriage certificate. You shouldn't have kept her because you knew it was the best thing you could do for her. Now you live alone in an empty house. A shadow wanders through the forbidden zone. A dusty file sits on the FBI's bookshelf. You earn enough to live on, eat dinners alone, no one knows who you are, where you come from, what great or terrible things you've done. Sometimes on sleepless nights you wonder, if only that day in Chicago I had had another 5 minutes, if only they had let go of my hand. Maybe I would have spent 10 years in prison, but those 10 years are over. I will walk out under my real name. I will be able to hug my father before his eyes die. I will be able to love someone without having to look around in fear. You created a game the FBI couldn't win, but to do that, you paid with your entire life. And in this dark room, you realize the biggest con artist, the one chasing and deceiving you, is yourself.
Please leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video. Thank you for listening.